Come on, Dak.
We doing that recording business?
Come on, Big Dak.
We on that, Big Dog?
We're on that, Big Dak.
Get there, Big Dog.
Dang.
Oh. Really doing it,
We're
dude?
doing it now, boy. We're in there.
So what are we going to talk about? What are we going to do? What's going on?
I don't know. What do you?
What do I got off the cuff?
Yeah.
Kind of off the cuff is kind of a beginning deal. I don't really know what we really want to talk about.
Me either.
How this wants to go. So.
I mean, we can do a lot of different things. We can do Bible. We can do recovery, which is going to be most of everything. You know?
Well, we also go off on the trails and tangents.
Yeah. We just get off on anything. But I'm cool with whatever.
All right. What's a good topic of the day? What could we unpack?
I don't know.
What it was like, how it was?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, how far you want to go back?
Just to when you decided.
Oh, mine's trippy, dude. Mine's trippy. I had two encounters. Like I said, like the first one's more like a real rock bottom moment. Like it was more to the point where nobody was around and I was fed up.
Yeah.
And then the second time was like I knew what I was asking for.
Yeah.
And I went and got it. Like a Dunsky.
Yeah.
I went and got it. So mine are two. The first time was I just got out of prison for the second time. And I was probably out for 2 or 3 months, maybe 4. I don't really remember the timeline. But I got out and just went back to the same stuff. Everybody was gone. Had a friend die before I got out, and everybody else kind of deuced out. Won't get into that, but I just kind of kept doing the same thing, and I like the feeling of loneliness wasn't going away.
Yeah.
Probably because I was getting high in prison also. But the feeling of loneliness didn't get away. So I got to a point to where I was just like, I'm done. I don't want to feel like this no more. And it was probably the first prayer I actually prayed. You know what I'm saying? I hit my knees and I said,
in prison?
No. I was in a motel room.
Oh, okay.
Motel room bathroom.
Okay.
And I was going to go to probation the next day or parole. You know what I mean? I was going to go the next day, and I was just like, you know what, man? I don't want to feel like this anymore. So whatever you got to do where I don't have to feel like this anymore, I just don't want to.
Yeah.
Then I ended up here in Dumas at the refuge and kind of got some skills underneath my belt. And
wow. Okay, what made you pick the refuge? I mean, you're from where, Perryton?
Perryton.
So what drew you to the refuge? How did you find out about this place?
Well, that's a crazy story, too. So my friend that killed himself, him and his wife was here at the refuge years before. Mm-hmm. I think back in 2009. I could be tripping, but I think it was back in 2009. And I remember whenever they left here. All right, so whenever they left here, I came back from the lake, and I seen them at a convenience store. And I was twisted, dude.
Yeah.
And they were sober, you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And I knew something was up with them because they weren't like they was when I knew them.
No.
You know what I mean? So they
were better.
Yeah, they had light in their eyes.
Right.
Only light was coming off of me was my face because I was so sweaty. You know what I'm saying? It was the summertime.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah.
But I asked
They had a sober look.
Yeah, yeah.
They just look good.
They look really good.
Okay.
Like, I haven't seen them like that in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the first time I met them, that's the look in their eyes. You know what I mean? So, met them at the convenience store, and I was like, dude, what are y'all doing?
Yeah.
Like, man, we just got out of treatment. I'm like, treatment? Where? Like, Dumas. And I was like, okay, cool. What are y'all doing now? I'm like, man, we're just kind of doing it. I was like, they're like, what are you doing? I was like, you know what I'm doing. You know, I was half lit, you know, on a sick one. And I was just like, all right, I'll see y'all later. And didn't think anything of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then whenever I got out of prison, the second time, I was talking to his wife, you know, just kind of touching base and kind of letting her know. I was like, man, I don't really care if they lock me back up or not. I'm just kind of done.
Yeah.
And she was talking about treatment over there in where she lives, you know what I mean, over in Joplin. And I went in and told the PO, you know, I'm done. I'd like to have some treatment, but there ain't no treatment around here, you know. I'm done with all this. If you want to lock me up, you can lock me up because I'm not going to say no to nothing.
Yeah.
You know, but I was pretty much done feeling the way I was feeling, but I was willing to go through any lengths to where I didn't care what happened.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So he asked if I heard of the refuge. And I told him no. So that's how it kind of set up. And then whenever I got out of the PO's office after the PO called the director, Charles Stevens here, I called her after I got out and told her, and she's like, oh, that's where me and Dew was at. And I was like, oh, really? She goes, let me call you. So she called him, kind of, you know, saying, hey, I know this dude. He's whatever that conversation was like. And so he already kind of had an opinion of me whenever I got here.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't just a willy-nilly thing. It was I believe it's kind of like a God thing, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
Connection, and then I'm here.
And what do you do here now?
Well, I'm assistant director now.
See, come on.
So
it had to have been a God thing.
Yeah, it had to be a God thing. But the second time, like before I became the assistant director, the second time I went out, or the first time I went out, I was just full of resentment and didn't care, but I knew what I was going back to. You know what I mean? I knew where it could lead me. And I just heard that, like, you know, you're laying there, you're hungover or something, you know, you're just not even feeling good. But I just had that small voice in the back of my head telling me, hey, this ain't what I have planned for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It took me a month to get back to where I was at 2.5 years prior.
Right.
And it took 2 more months to get the gall to ask to come back. You know what I mean?
And when you asked to come back, was it open arms, or what was the question when you wanted to come back?
What's going to be different? What's going to be different? And I was like, I don't know. He goes, you might want to think about that. Because this is all through a text. I don't have a phone or nothing. I'm using my brother's iPad to text on Facebook because I've already lost everything. I don't have a phone, don't have any way to hook it up. You know what I mean? And I asked if I could come talk to him. And he's like, yeah, for sure, come on. And I was like, well, is there any chance for me to come back? And he's like, well, what's going to be different? I didn't have an answer for that. You know, and yeah. I caught a ride from another friend's wife. All these people are making arrangements for me.
Yeah.
Not even like everybody knows I need it, but I'm just like, I don't have nothing. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I
don't have the gall to do it. So I come up here and sat in the office and gave him the spiel, you know, this is what's going on, nothing's going right, nothing's going my way. You know, I'm staying drunk as much as I can, you know. And he was like, all right, well, what do you want me to do? What do you need from me? I said, I'd like to come back. He says, all right, all right. He didn't even ask me the question what was going to be different. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I believe he already knew that I had to do a lot of things different this time. And that was almost 9 years ago.
So, okay, so when he asked you the question, what was going to be different? What did you not have an answer? I know you didn't have an answer at that time, but after that phone call, what did you think? Or what was going through your head that you needed to change?
Everything.
Okay.
Everything. I was going to have to change because I believe, just like most other people in recovery, is we get comfortable and we set standards on ourselves. All right. We put ourselves in this box. I'm not going to do this, and I'm not going to do that. I'll do a little bit of this, but I'm not doing that.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
And I believe that's what I did. I put myself in this box, and I told myself I wasn't going to do certain things. Now, whatever that looked like, I don't know. I'm not looking on the outside, looking in. But I knew when he asked me that the first thought was, I'm going to have to change everything about what I'm doing, what I believe, and the limits I'm willing to go.
Yeah.
You know, but telling him everything, I'm going to have to change everything. Like, he would have been like, all right, I need some definitions for those things. Because once you say it out loud to a person, it becomes real.
Right.
And I wasn't ready. I would say I was scared enough to know that I didn't want it to become real right then and there. But I was fed up. You know what I'm saying? But I knew that if I came back the second time, I was going to have to do everything different. How I talked, how I treated people, how I interacted with people, going above and beyond to get outside of my comfort zone, you know? And I didn't really realize, I'm not trying to get off subject here, but I didn't really realize that the growth that comes from being outside your comfort zone.
Yeah.
It was scary. It was scary to me because I felt comfortable with just being sober. I was just comfortable enough, getting used to be comfortable enough just being sober inside my own skin.
Yeah.
And then having to go out there and interact with people was something totally alien to me.
Okay. So when let's see this. So doing something different. When you started doing different things, what did you notice? So what was the first thing you changed? I guess is probably like a better starting point, right? Like from what you can remember, what is the first thing you changed?
Just going with my first decision, my first instinct, because before something would come up, and I would bat it down. No, that's probably not the right thing. And then I'd go with the second thing, and I wouldn't get blessed with anything. Nothing would happen. You know, I would go with the instincts of, I'm not going to go beyond my limitations.
Okay. So basically, your first thought was you thinking, right? Your old.
No. My first thought would be like, all right.
Oh, changing your first. Okay, so changing your first thought.
No, going with my first thought.
Okay.
Because my first thought is that point to where somebody asks you to go help somebody you don't know. Mm-hmm. And your first thought is like, no. Or your first thought is, yeah, I should probably do that. And they're probably going to get more blessing out of it than I am because it's the right thing to do. They're not able to do it. And then my second thought is, it's going to turn into a big old deal, and I don't have the capacity to handle this person's personality.
See, yeah, I get that. But mine was the opposite. Mine was, I don't want to do that. You know what I mean? That was my first thought. And my second thought was, yeah, I better do that. You know what I mean? So I learned that I have to go with my second thought, 'cause my first thought is always selfish. You know what I mean?
All right.
That's the way I work. Is my first thought is pretty fucking selfish. But my second thought usually is the one that I should do. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
like if somebody's doing something and I think, whatever, or just blow it off, like, that's them. My second thought is I should probably say something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or in doing physical things for people, it's, I don't want to do that. Like that.
Well, I just bring up helping people because that's what, as alcoholics and drug addicts, that's just how we're.
Right. And
That's how we're just trained. We're not going to help anybody if it doesn't benefit us.
Yeah, but it also goes with reading and writing. Like, I don't want to do that right now. Fucking
Right.
tired, My second thought is always, you know what? No matter what, I need to do this. I need to get this done. You know what I mean? So it was kind of opposite for me.
Well, I call it my first thought because I believe that's like the spirit in me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's your conscience telling you, hey man, yeah, you should probably do that.
Right.
And then my brain will kick in and say, no, you're not. You're not even equipped for something like that.
So you think our spirit, and I believe that as well, but our spirit is part of our conscience.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
No, the spirit is our conscience.
Is our conscience.
Because our conscience won't tell us anything wrong. It won't lead us down them dark trails.
Right.
When your mind takes over and you're at the Weiner Road and it says over here is heaven and over here is a 500-pound gorilla. Usually we want to go see the gorilla because we know what to expect with the gorilla.
Right.
And this other path that's heaven, we don't know that. So we're not going to go with that.
Right.
You know what I mean? The spirit's saying, "Hey, take a right here," and our mind's like, "No, I think I'm gonna take this left." That's our conscience saying, "You probably shouldn't do that."
Right.
But we just go off and say, "You know what? I'm not gonna do that."
And that's the spirit.
Yeah.
Talking to you.
Yeah.
Telling you what you need to do or what the right thing to do is or what. It's really, I mean, if you really look at it, it's guiding you into your blessings.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean,
Yeah.
if you do everything your conscience tells you to do, that's right. I mean, you do have some bad thoughts sometimes, but if you're staying in the Word, you got nothing but good conscience going on, you're really just guiding yourself into the right direction of where God wants you to be.
Yeah.
Which is like writing and doing what you're supposed to in recovery.
Really just staying connected, talking to somebody else.
Yeah.
You're bouncing those ideas off and they kind of, like another person will help you make those decisions until you can make them yourself. And you're able to listen to that small, still voice in your head that says, that's probably not right. Because we all got it, we just don't pay attention to it.
Okay, so it's like walking, okay, if you picture it metaphorically, you always go down this one path. Like if you walk to a certain spot all the time, you go a certain direction.
Yeah.
Right? Which is your mind going one direction all the time. But once you change it, by letting somebody else lead you into going a different route, which is the correct route that's going to better your life in a sense, then eventually you start to learn that path works and you can walk it on your own.
Yeah,
they're helping.
Yeah, they're helping you build confidence.
Okay.
They're helping you build confidence. That's why mentorship is really important.
And accountability.
But the mentorship is the person that you go to that you're not really. They got life experience and you're not experienced with life. That's why it works so well whenever a younger guy is yoked to an older guy.
Yeah.
The blind ain't leading the blind no more. You know what I'm saying? If they're already setting a path, let's say that they're successful. Whenever I'm talking about successful, is they're connected with their okay. So just like They're a disciple being discipled. All right. And then now it's time for them to disciple somebody. You know what I mean? And they're already on a path.
Mm-hmm.
And their path is working for them. And you're like, man, I want what that man has right there. You know, you don't get men don't get mentored by women. Women get mentored by women. You know what I'm saying? We don't understand what they're talking about anyways.
Right.
Or how they think. We're basing all of it on what we want.
Right.
So if you got a man in your life that's guiding you, they've pretty much been in the same struggle you've been in, and they know what roads to take. You know,
yeah.
And that could be spiritually, that could be recovery, that could be financially, that could be relationship wise, that could be business wise. You know, they've made those mistakes, and if you listen to them, you won't have to make those mistakes, and you're able to. You spend enough time around them, you know what they're going to tell you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you stay connected, and you're like, well, this is not what I'm supposed to be doing right now. All right? This is what the book says. This is what my mentor says. They go hand in hand. That's probably what you shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
or should be doing.
Or should be doing.
Either way.
Either way, you have two resources to kind of make that decision.
Okay.
Or three if you want to count the spirit, you know what I mean?
So what would you tell somebody that has somebody that needs recovery and is ready to do something about it? What would you tell them to do? Like what is there, because we have a lot of people that have family that they come and say, hey, this guy needs this and that. Do you want to know if they're ready first?
Well, the first thing I'd say is let me talk to them. I got to talk to them.
Okay.
Because most of the time, you talk to them and they're saying something totally different than what the other person is saying. Like, okay, so let's say dad calls. Man, we really want this guy to get some help, man. He's ready. I know he's ready. This is what he tells me, And then you get on the phone with the kid or the son and you're like, hey, man, what's going on, man? Oh, I really think that this is what my family wants for me. And they'll use vernacular like that. I really think this is what my family wants for me. So I'm just seeing if this is what I can do. It's like, well, do you want it?
Yeah.
And usually, most of the time, they go silent. But if they really, really want it, most of the time, people ain't calling for them.
They're here. They just show up, or they just call.
Or they just call. And you'll come in like on a Monday or Tuesday and hear the answer machine, and they're like, hey, man, I've lost everything. I've done nothing, Family's gone, job's gone, fixing to lose a house. I don't know where to turn. I've been drinking for so many years, been using meth for so many years. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's pretty vague, but that's kind of what you go off of. If they're talking about losing everything and don't say nothing about their addiction or their alcoholism, they're not really about it. But if they tell you about their alcoholism and then lead into the job and the family, then they know what the main source is.
Yeah.
Some people just want to learn how to do life and drink at the same time.
And that don't work.
And that does not work.
Why doesn't it work?
If you're an alcoholic, let's say, because most people that come here, their family thinks that they're alcoholics and they believe that they're just hard drinkers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know.
I'm not an alcoholic. I'm just a hard drinker. I can stop anytime I want to. And it's like, all right, well, if that's the case, go do life with that.
Yeah, why not just stop?
Yeah, why does it come down to this?
Because it's fun.
You got 5 DWIs, you got CPS on you, kids are fixing to be gone, wife can't pass a drug test or a hair follicle, you know, and you don't see a problem with that? But let's get back to your real question. The regular question is what do you tell somebody if they have somebody that's ready for recovery?
Yeah.
Well, the first thing I would say is get them to a meeting, get them a book, and see how far they're willing to go.
Before they come here.
Oh,
or before they choose recovery whatsoever.
No, just I was taking it that you were asking if they already had a mentor.
No, I'm talking about like to get them into the refuge.
Oh, get them into the refuge?
Yeah, I'm trying to promote the refuge a little bit. You know what I mean? Like,
okay. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, that way people know what's going on around here.
Well,
because I mean, just to put it out there, it saved my life, and I've seen it save a lot of other people's lives.
Right.
And I mean, most people don't know about this place, and if they do, they either have no idea what goes on here, or they have an idea about an idea of what goes on here. You know what I mean? Like they don't really know what's going on here. And if they had somebody in here that usually got kicked out because they weren't following the program, that's what people hear, right? You don't hear about success stories because they're successful. You know what I mean? That the guys I know that are very successful, you don't hear from them because they're living their life, right? They don't go out boasting about them screwing up or what this place did bad for them because nothing happened. I mean, they did what they were supposed to do and they're living life normally.
Yeah, and that's the hard thing is they don't get enough credit.
Right.
You know, and I don't know if they give themselves enough credit. Because we're right now people. You know what I'm saying? We're right now people. We're focused right here. What's in front of us?
Yeah.
You know, especially when we're focused. But if you were okay, so this is usually how it goes. If they're ready to be in the program and they're ready to do this thing, let's say if somebody walks up here, they're ready to be in the program. They want to come in the program. They're fed up with life and they just want to do it.
None but a trash bag with them.
None but a trash bag with them. And I ask them, is that all you got? That's all I got, man. All right. Why don't you fill this out?
Which is a contract, right?
Most of the time, it's just a homeless agreement.
Okay.
Really, the reason why it's a homeless agreement is because we're giving them a time. We're giving them 2 or 3 days to really figure it out. You know what I mean? And either I'll suggest it or somebody that lives here will suggest it. Hey, man, if you want to be here, show that you want to be here. That means get up, go to meetings, get up, go to church, get up, participate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Treat this place like it's yours. That means you do some cleaning. You know what I mean? Because most of us don't. Like me, I've never had a place of my own, so I don't know how to take care of a place.
Right.
I got to be told. Or I had to be told. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So give them 2 or 3 days in a homeless room, and then figure it out. If they're always showing up at meetings, they're always present, they're always looking, what can I do? You know what I mean? If they're getting along with people, then you give them a contract. You know what I mean? And then you put them in a room.
And then what does a recovery week look like for a newcomer? Somebody just signed the contract. What does the day look like here for somebody that just started?
Well, 7:30 in the morning, you get up and go to AA or NA meeting. And since there's so many people working right now, there's not a 10 o'clock. Usually it's a 7:30, 10 o'clock, and then a night meeting. You know what I mean?
Afternoon
Yeah.
here or outside of here, like
Like what do they do after the meetings?
yeah.
Well, most of the time, like during the summers, we'll have people come up and needing some day labor or something like that if they're physically able. Because some people aren't physically able. They've gone beyond their limits and they just need some rest.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know,
They're just tired.
going to a meeting is about all. For some people, going to a meeting, that's about all they can do.
Okay.
And that's okay.
Yeah, that's
Because
fine.
what we ask you to do is, for the first 30 days, we ask you to just chill. Chill, calm down, get some rest. Get you a meal in you, get you a few meals in you, take you a shower, wash some clothes, make yourself feel good, man. Don't worry about all that out there. You don't have to anymore. Not for a while.
Just be here.
Just be here. And what I mean by being present is you're not in your room isolated. You're being present. You're out here. You're being seen. You're
Socializing.
socializing,
Asking questions.
asking questions. Where can I get a book? How do you get a sponsor?
How do I do step 1?
Well, you kind of already did step 1 when you walked in the door.
Okay.
And I hate doing this, but I always assume that I'm taking you for your word.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's when I got here, that's all I had was my word. And if you're totally honest, you've already done step 1. You've admit that your life is unmanageable. And if you only got a trash bag, your life is totally unmanageable.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Step 2 and 3, that's something you're going to have to do. You're going to have to talk to people. You know what I mean? But that first step's already out of the way on assumption that you can't do it. That's why you're here.
So work to find somebody to sponsor, right?
Find a
Eventually-
sponsor, do some
eventually
steps. And most of the time the meetings are pretty much kind of teach you life skills. Kind of teach you how you tick. Where did you come up with some of these beliefs? Why do you got these values that you're holding on to? Stuff like that.
What is it that's keeping you smoking drugs?
Yeah.
What is it? Or slamming that bottle back? What's doing? Why? What is happening?
And most of the time, their definition of wants and needs are messed up. Mine was
So what were your wants and needs when you came in?
I didn't have any wants. I just didn't want to feel the way I felt.
So I'm just saying, like in your addiction, having no wants or no needs made you keep smoking?
No, my number one priority was I worked to get drunk. I worked to get high.
Good.
That was the number one priority.
Yeah. All right.
That was a need.
Okay.
Everything else was after that. You know what I mean? Look, man. When I got here the first time, I was 29 years old. All right. Never had a house. Never paid rent. Never had a driver's license. Didn't have a car. Lived out of motel rooms when I could. Lived with people whenever I could. You know what I'm saying? Never had anything of my own. I did not progress any. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So my needs were two things and two things only. Getting drunk or getting high. And then I needed some cigarettes, so that was 3. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying.
So that was the only wants and needs I had.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So whenever I come here and I'm listening to this lecture about, let's just say, wants and needs, it was all brand new to me. You know what I mean? I was a true burnout, you know?
And what did it do? I mean, did it inspire you? Did it discourage you? Did you want what he was talking about? Or did you realize that shit was fucked up? I'm sure you did. I mean, obviously you did.
Yeah, that's the first thing I realized is I am behind. You know, we had a guy here years ago, and he said it the best way. He's like, I took my retirement early.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And I truly believe it. I took my retirement early
Damn.
because I lived a life of leisure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No responsibilities.
Yeah, I hear that.
No responsibilities. I didn't grow up one bit, dude. I was a child trying to do men things, and when it did come to men things, I didn't really want no part of that either.
Yeah.
You know?
Dude, so mine's a little different. I'm not going to get too much deep into mine. I'm just going to just jump off of what you just said. I don't want to get off into mine because I got some legal shit going on. You know what I mean? But mine was the same thing. Mine was the same, but a little bit different because, like, growing up, I had a pretty good life. You know what I mean? We didn't really go without. Weren't doing the greatest. Weren't rich or nothing like that. But growing up, we were all right. I mean, we were okay, you know. And then when I got on my own, I was doing pretty good. I got a job working on drilling rigs and was doing great. And then once I started doing drugs pretty heavy, I decided to just do that. You know what I mean? And I gave up everything else. I didn't want responsibility, just like what you're saying. But I had responsibilities, but when I realized that, you know, having no responsibilities isn't that bad either, I just took that. It was just the easy, lazy way out of shit. You know what I mean? Didn't care. Didn't give a fuck about what anyone thought about me, and just chose to get high. You know what I mean? Lost my house, lost my truck, in and out of jail, fucking stayed fucked up, dude, on the street. Breaking into houses, you know what I mean? Just living on nothing.
What do you think it was that got you to that point? Did you overload, or did you just want to have fun?
No, at first it was just fun. You know what I mean? It was just fun. It was I guess it was like in high school, you know, going to parties and shit like that. It was fun getting drunk, you know what I mean? But what was more fun than just drinking was the secrecy. The hiding of going to get drunk and coming
Thrill
in
seeking.
Right, yeah, it was a thrill-seeking adventure for me. You know what I mean? Feeling like I'm doing bad shit. You know what I mean? When you do a little cocaine, you're fucking a little bit lit and nobody else is. You know what I mean? Like, everyone else is like, damn, dude, you're doing cocaine. Like, it felt good to be the one doing worse. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know how that makes sense. But, like, you felt like the cool kid, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Because you're doing a little bit extra shit than other ones.
Yeah, you got a little status.
Right, and then now you're hanging out with kids older than you because the other ones got cocaine, can get fucking drugs and this and that. And it was the secrecy of hiding shit, right? That kind of made it fun, a little more fun than just that, but it was that's what it started with. It was fun, and then it became I was working with older guys. I mean, these dudes were men. I mean, these are big fucking roughneck dudes. You know, been doing this shit for a long time, and that's what they did. I mean, it was like going from high school into a job that I could do the same shit. You know what I mean? And now I'm on my own. You know what I'm saying? So
Nobody holding you back.
Yeah, there's nobody holding me back, and at first it was fun until I started seeing guys that were doing it all the time because they were burned out. You know what I mean? They'd burn bridges and burn people, and they're on wife number 3 or on wife number 2 with the mistress. You know what I mean? At work. And these dudes are staying up, you know, all night long for days fucking. And this is just normal to them. And me, I think I got to fit in. You know what I mean? I got to do what they're doing.
Got to catch up.
Yeah, like, if they're doing it, fuck, I can do it too, you know? So then the fun became, it went from fun to being necessary.
It's just what we do.
This is just what it is, dude.
It's just part
you know
of
what I mean? Yeah, we smoke a little crack before we trip pipe. You know what I mean? Like, this is what we do.
Yeah.
And you're gonna trip pipe a lot faster, you know. And you don't. I mean, you don't. You might be badass, but I mean, it never. And then it became normal where it was manageable, you know, to do all that and still go to work and be fine. So I guess it became necessary or normal, necessary, and manageable. And then it became unmanageable. Right? It just became where I'm up for 5 days and I still have fucking 10 days to go at work. You know what I mean? I'm going to try and just stay high for as long as I can and just show up, dude. Like, whether I get the job done or not half-assed, like, I got to fucking stay up because I'm not about to lose my job. You know what I mean?
Were you eating? Were you eating at any of this?
Oh, hell no.
So you're up there on the floor just
Dude,
shaking.
if I did, yeah. Like, if I did, bro, I kept a thing of Hawaiian bread in the Roughneck Shack. And when I could, bro, I'd fucking go grab a piece of that bread, stuff it in my mouth, and drink water. Just so I could get some kind of nourishment.
Yeah.
But, I mean, other than that, bro, or peanut butter, you know, something. Because you have to have some vitamins, something. Fruit snacks, something. You got to have something, but it wasn't like I was sitting down to eat, bro.
All right.
But anyway, and then it became like I had to do that. And then it became unmanageable where I could not work. I was just worthless, you know. And then when I started to realize that, fuck, you know what, I'm just going to do the drugs. Fuck going to work. Fuck everything.
Yeah.
And that was it.
I'm going to get some sleep. And then after I get some sleep, I'm going to go again.
Yeah, and then you got...
And I don't have to work.
And I don't like to... I don't want to... I mean, it becomes... The paranoia sets in too, right? And we got shit going on at home. I mean, paranoia sits in, so now you're sitting up all night thinking about crazy shit that's really not happening. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
Then you think fucking people know you're doing drugs at work when you know they're doing drugs at work. You know what I mean? Like, it's just... It became fucking... The paranoia became too much.
You had this concept of, they don't know unless I tell them.
Yeah. And half of them knew because I was giving it to them. You know what I mean? But you still think maybe one of these motherfuckers snitching on me. You know what I mean? And then you can't trust nobody. You don't talk to nobody. You start isolating at work. You know what I mean? You start thinking shit's going on at home. I mean, if you become this stupid fucking person.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, you know what? I could ignore all of this shit if I just say fuck them and do me. Right? Then I gotta be paranoid about shit. You know what I mean? I have to worry about losing my job because I don't have one. I have to worry about my girl cheating on me because I don't have one. I ain't gotta worry about losing the fucking house or paying the bills because I ain't got one. You know what I mean? But I know I can go get that dope. That's what it was. That's exactly what it was for me.
Yeah, you was pretty much making it to where nobody had to depend on you. Nothing had to depend on you.
Yeah, I had no responsibility.
You're just gonna go cowboy on the streets.
Yeah. Wrangle them up, dude. You get fucking lit up and just on to the next one, bro. Whatever it took. You know what I mean?
So how'd you get here the first time?
So that's a crazy thing. So I grew up in Dumas, right? And then go throughout my life getting into drug addiction, in and out of jail. Finally, when I was in jail one day, well, not one day, I was in there for like 8 months. There's a guy in there, his name was Jamie, and we got to talking. He was serious. He was on heroin. He was serious about this recovery thing. In jail. And I mean, I've been in and out of jails, and you hear something all the time, dude. You know what I mean? I'm going to clean myself up this time, dude. I'm going to do things right.
It's the last time, man.
Time. Yeah, whatever, bro. Heard it a million times. But this dude was about it. Like, he was serious. Right. You know what I mean? Like, you could just tell. Because all the books, he would shoot books over to my cell. You know what I mean? And they were all about changing your mind and shit like that, changing the way you think. So I was like, okay, this guy's pretty serious, you know? And then he gets to tell me about this place called Cinecor. And that he was going to go to Cinecor when he got out, dude. He had been talking to his family about going to this Cinecor place. Whatever. Yeah, whatever, bro. Cool story. You know what I mean? But like while we were in there, he's weaning himself off his heroin pills, whatever that's Suboxone, whatever.
Yeah.
And so like I could tell like he's serious about it. Anyway, so he gets out, and then I get out on a bond reduction. I had a 40-something thousand dollar bond. I got a bond reduction. Um, and the only reason why I got a bond reduction is if I agreed to go to treatment. You know what I mean? If I got a bond reduction and I bonded out, I had to go to treatment. Some treatment. Whatever it was, I had to go somewhere. So I got out, went down south with my parents, went to some center, and they didn't let me in because they said I'd been sober too long because I was in jail for 8 months.
Okay.
So I couldn't go to their program because I had too much clean time. Like, what the fuck?
What do they need? Like, you just throwing up?
Let me go get high real quick. You know what I mean? I'll come back.
Yeah. I'm hungry.
Yeah.
Let me in.
Dude, it was weird, bro. It was weird, but whatever. So I was like, yeah, you know what? Fuck it. I'm not gonna find nothing, you know. Anyways, fast forward. I told my dad I need to go to. There's this place called Cinecor. I remember Jamie talking about it. It's in Amarillo. My dad was like, okay. So, let's go. All right. So we went to Amarillo. I checked in. I signed up for the 2-year program. Signed up for the 2-year program. I get in the program. It was kind of a weird thing. I mean, I don't want to talk about their program because I don't know their rules or whatever. But I'm there, and I mean, it's not saying it was a bad thing. It was good. It was a good program. But anyway, walking around in there, and there's Jamie, dude. I mean, he had probably been there. I think he had been there over a year now, like since he had bonded out.
Was he all lit up?
Yeah. When he saw me, he was like, "What the fuck?" And I was like, "Dude, you're fucking here." You know what I mean? Like you fucking really did it. And he was like, maybe 5 months from graduating the 2-year program. Anyway, so that was pretty cool. But my 5th day there, they shut down the 2-year program. So Jamie had to go off to another Cinecor somewhere. And I went to, since I had only been there 5 days, I was like, I'm not transferring to another spot. Like, I came here for a reason.
Would you have to go to a different city or what?
Yeah, they had some in, like, Corpus, San Antonio, and Dallas or something like that.
Okay.
So I'm not going all the way out. I just came all the way from down south up here to do this program. You know what I mean? Because I think my sister was around here. I think my dad was planning on coming back in this direction, so like we would all be here when I got out, you know? But anyway, so I'm like, I'm not gonna do that. Just transfer me to the 30-day program and I'll figure something out in the meantime, you know? So they did. They let me transfer to the 30-day program. Great 30-day program. It was good. It was full day, full of meetings. Didn't really know what they were talking about, but I mean, it was good. All I can say is I didn't have a bad experience. My mom passed away while I was doing the 30-day program, but you know, I didn't let that stop me. I graduated the 30-day program, and I think like 2 days before I called my dad and I was like, dude, this ain't enough. This is not enough program. And he said, well, there's a program in Dumas that the church that you used to go to when you were a kid helps with, like, or supports or something there in Dumas. And he said there's probably some people there that you know that could help you get in, you know, which was Brent and Stanley, who is it, Pat, you know, he was talking about them. I'm like, couldn't really remember them, but I knew who they were, like, I knew who they were. I remember Brent in my head and Pat, Stanley too. But some of the people he named off, I couldn't remember who they were. Anyway, so I'm like, okay. So I told my counselor, whoever they were, I wanted to go to the refuge. She said, okay, call up there and see. Oh, you got their number? Like, I don't know. You know? So she was like, I don't know, let's look it up. So we looked it up, and there it was, the Refuge Dumas. Phone number was there. I called. Phone rang maybe once, and Charlie answers the phone.
How'd that go?
He was like, yeah, it's normal. Refuge of Dumas. And I was like, yeah, this is Charles Roberts. I'm at Cinecor. You know, fixing to graduate the program in like 3-4 days. I grew up in Dumas. I know Brent, Clark, and some other people from there. I said, you might know my dad, Daryl Robertson. He's like, nope. And I was like, okay, well, I mean, it's irrelevant. I don't make this shit, but, you know, I grew up there, and my dad was telling me that there's a program there, and, you know, the 30-day program here just ain't enough. And I want to see if you have a spot there. And he's like, yeah. He said, I may have a spot. He said, I got one guy leaving, and he said, when are you planning on coming here? I said, the day I graduate is the day I'll be there. And he said, perfect. He said, that's exactly what I would recommend you do. He said, when you leave there, make sure you come straight here, and I'll have a bed ready for you. He said, don't go nowhere. He said, if you're going to go eat with your family or whoever, but I suggest you don't go anywhere else. Just come straight here. I was like, okay. And that's exactly what I did, dude. I got that certificate from Synacor. Got all my shit. My sister came and got me. Brought me straight here, and I walked in. That was it. You know? Had a room ready for me. And it was the best thing that's ever happened to me. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, it took me 2 weeks, probably, to realize, because, I mean, after a 30-day program, bro, from doing drugs for 3, 4, 5 years plus, I mean, it was tough, and just losing my mom, you know what I mean? It was just like, and the doors are unlocked here, you know what I mean? Like, it was like, you know, I could just go back out, and I got all the good reasons to do it. You know, I got every perfect reason to just leave right now. And that was probably my first week or two of being here, that was the way I thought. But one meeting, one of the meetings changed something in my head. And that was basically all what I did was I went to my room and I said, you know what? I'm better than that shit. You know what I mean? I know, and I don't want to do that anymore. Like I want my responsibilities back. I'm ready to fucking change all of this shit. You know what I mean? I'm ready to fucking do something with my life because I'm just wasting it. You know?
Yeah, you knew that you were better than that.
Yeah.
You were raised better than that. You had values better than that, and you got fed up.
Yeah, and I did. I sat in my room, and it was like that, dude. Really, in that moment was when it switched, right? And I didn't have a job, wasn't looking for a job. Like, it was just me realizing, and that probably was part of it, but it wasn't the main reason. It was just like, I want to get my shit together so I can learn how to live life. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I want to get rid of whatever the fuck's bothering me so I can do the shit I was doing before, because I was pretty successful, dude. Like, I would say on my own, you know, working on the rigs, I bought a house, I bought a truck, I had tools, I had all kinds of shit. And I did it all on my own, you know? And I was pretty proud of all that shit at some point. But then at one point I gave it all up, and I wanted all that back. I wanted to be the man God brought me here for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wanted to do His will no matter what, to benefit others, not just me. You know what I mean? Like I want to help other people, because I believe that's what His plan is for me. You know what I mean? Not just have cool shit for me, dude. That, like, to me, that's the coolest shit I could do is help somebody. You know, like, I find pride in that. It makes me feel good as a person, and it really keeps me sober. I mean, honestly, it's helping other people. I used to help people all the fucking time. You know what I mean? But I quit doing that, and I started hurting people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I enjoyed that just as much as fucking helping people. You know what I mean? I let that become enjoyable for me, and I don't want that no more. Like that was the switch. Was like, are you ready to fucking change something? Because, and to me, I've seen good. You know, I've seen good. I've done good. and I've also done really fucking shitty shit. And it was it was just a choice for me, just like it is for anybody else. But at least I had seen it. You get what I'm saying? And I can see that's where it's hard for some other people is they haven't seen it. They don't.
Well, it's not that they. I don't believe it's not that they haven't seen it. They're just not paying attention. They don't think it's possible for them.
I can see that.
You know.
Well, like for me, like I'd seen it in my life.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You grew up with that.
Yeah, I grew up and saw that I can do better.
Right.
You know what I mean? And some people just haven't seen that they can do better. You know what I mean? I've never seen that, or I haven't never believed that.
That can happen for them, but not for me.
Yeah.
I'm just not that good. You know, and a lot of people feel like that. That always works out for them, but it would never work out like that for me. So why try?
Right.
I'm not going to make a fool of myself. You know.
Yeah. Well, my question is, why not try it?
Well,
you know what I mean?
it's the whole deal of if you're done and you want it, like you really, really, really want it. You know. And what I mean by being done is I'm done doing that. Because it's a decision. You know, you make a decision and you don't change your mind no matter what happens. And we do this all the time because we're undisciplined. We make a decision, then we talk ourselves out of it. We make a decision, talk ourselves out of it. We're undisciplined. But really, really making that decision, I want to do this and I want to be here. And figuring out your starting point to your finish point. What's in the middle? And the middle is going to change all the time, and you got to be comfortable with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You have to get to that point where you want it so bad, nothing's going to stop you.
Yeah.
And that could be your walk, that could be sobriety, that could be business-wise, that could be job-wise, that could be education-wise. No matter what happens, I'm going to do this. And you just got to make that decision. Don't talk yourself out of it.
Right. And I think what people forget too is, and I've forgotten it too sometimes. You forget how long it takes, or you don't realize that this is gonna take a fucking minute. You know what I mean? Like,
no, you're just daydreaming.
Yeah.
Most people are just daydreaming.
I get that
and then they go to daydream and then they have daymares. It's like having a nightmare. Yeah, they have a nightmare during the day. They have a daymare. And they think about all the possibilities that could happen, and they base a drug-filled or alcohol-filled belief on it, and they say, yeah, that I can't do that.
Right.
And they go down that Ho Chi Minh Trail and just believe that I cannot do this. It's not going to happen for me. And that's what I'm calling a daymare.
Yeah.
We're just negative people. We're just negative people at heart. We thought negatively for so many years. And that's what we got to. And it's hard to break that cycle. I mean, I still do it. But I don't do it as much. I really just think it through. Or if I can't think it through, then I'll just write down some notes to myself. Possibility here, possibility here. What do I want here? What do I want there? And writing it out and making it look where it ain't so big. It's it's kind of like
that helps. That fucking helps right there. And that to me when I got here, when I made that switch in my head, you know how I did that instead of writing it down was getting a calendar and putting goals like on my calendar. That was how I got to see my steps getting done. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like it was, because me, I'm more visual. Like I got to see it. You know what I mean? I got to see that I can do something, or I got to fucking put my hands on it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And when I see myself knocking out fucking goals for the week or the month or whatever it is, or by the day, dude, it made time go by. You know what I mean? But good time, like good shit. It helped me believe that I can fucking finish something. You know what I mean? I got this.
Yeah, you set some small goals and you made them achievable. You didn't set something so high
Yeah.
You could not reach it.
Right.
You know what I mean? You set small goals. And the main thing is you wrote them down.
Yep.
Because if you're just thinking about it, you're daydreaming. If you write it down, it's set in stone. It's just like admitting a problem. As soon as you say it out loud, it's real. Well, as soon as you write it down, it becomes real.
Right.
And it's going to cause some action, you know. And that's the whole cool thing about it is, especially for my not having that background.
Yeah.
You know, reading and writing was not on my agenda growing up.
Yeah.
You know, and the only time I did read is if I was locked up. You know.
That's the only time you do read.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, not today, but
Not today. Yeah,
but like writing, learning how to write stuff down and actually seeing it on paper. It doesn't make it, because we can blow it up in our head. You know, we go from one thought to another thought, another thought, another thought. But once you write it down, you can see if it's measurable or not.
Yeah.
And realistically look at it and not run away with your thoughts.
I think it's smokeberry time.
Yeah, it's time to break because I got to piss.
It's not smoke, dude.